Howdy, and welcome to this Life Lesson Friday episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. I'm recording this, the college football season has just kicked off. We've had one full weekend, and this is in 2025. And so one of the headlines that I saw was, that there were the more top 10 upsets than any other year in the first weekend of the football season. And it led me to say one of the things that I absolutely don't like. I understand the reality of life in that we've done this in once it's once this thing has started, it's something that's very hard to put back and take, and change and get away from. But that is preseason polls. And they do it in every sport. But since football just started and this headline came out, it made me think of like the reality is there were also more games played between two top 10 teams than in any other year in the first weekend. So we were already set up to have that happen. So the headline was already written because the way the schedule played out and the way that the ranking system was done. And then there was an extra game that was lost in there from an unranked team beating a ranked team. So, but what it makes me think about is how the preseason schedule, the preseason rankings are so like they're just not necessary. And they don't really give us a good idea of who anybody is because we're basing it off of, and especially in today's world when so many factors come in because the kids can transfer from school to school whenever they want to. Um, New coaches, new players, injuries, all the different things. And until we see what the team can actually do in a game, it's all just imagination, really. Um, and so the rankings are put together by the media. And then they come out in teams every year, teams just blow up, or a team that's not ranked, that's not expected to do well, comes out and really does well and shows that, like, hey, we're somebody to be reckoned with. And I saw someone else say, well, we got to put the brakes on because we'll really know who people are in week two. Once their week two opponent sees their game footage, can they come out and duplicate against a different team? Are they going to come out and make the corrections they need to make and do better? Did the ranked team get beat by a team that actually should have been ranked higher anyway? Like, we don't know these things until we get more games played. So why am I talking about this this is a health podcast, right? It correlates to our own health because there's so many times when we come out and have one thing happen and make an assumption that this is now who we are, right? One ranked team comes out and gets blown out by an unranked team, and now all of a sudden, oh well, they're horrible. They're not who we thought we were. Or, in the case of, and that plays out with the way that Florida State beat Alabama. Florida State had a really unusually down year last year. Doesn't mean that they necessarily were a horrible team to begin with, but they weren't ranked. They came out and beat Alabama. And so the question is now, okay, well, is the Alabama dynasty over? Are they done with? I think anybody would look at that team and who's on that team and say, well, if we ranked them, what they were ranked number 8, I think. If we had ranked them at number 8, we must have thought they were going to win 10 or 11 games. So if they lost one, all of a sudden they're a horrible team, right? Like unranked teams, there's going to be unranked teams that win 8 or 9 games. at the end of the year. There's going to be unranked teams that have won 8 or 9 games or maybe more. So going into the season with this preseason and then looking at it and going like, oh my gosh, no, it just means that, hey, they needed to prepare more, right? Texas was ranked number one. They go into Ohio State, they lose, and everybody's, oh, are they as good as they were? Da, da. And you look at it and you go, they're still probably going to win 11 games. I think every school, every football coach in the nation would tell you at the end of the year, if they could win 11 games, by the time the last game is played, if they had 11 wins, they would take that in a heartbeat. It just so happens they lost the first game. Half the teams that play have to lose the first game. That's the way it works. So going into it and all of a sudden piling on just because of a made up preseason ranking is horrible. We do the same thing with our health because we mess up once and all of a sudden we're never going to be that person that can be healthy. We're never going to be that person that can eat healthy because I had that one dessert. And everybody can relate to this. I'm going to try and go on a diet. I go on a diet. I have one bad thing in a meal because I forget, or I go to a party, right? Or a luncheon, and oops, I had dessert. I didn't mean to, but it was a special thing. I didn't have to pay for it because my company paid for it, whatever the case is. And I had that dessert. I wasn't thinking, the day shot. I might as well go ahead and have whatever else I want. I'll just start over the next day, or I'll start over some other time. Or, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna have a healthy nutrition plan at all in the holidays. It's just not worth it. It's too hard to fight all the good stuff. So from Halloween to New Year's, I'm just gonna forget about it. And then, you know, holiday cookie calories don't count, right? I mean, we've all heard that kind of thing. And then you get to January and now you've created a habit. And for those of us in the United States in the northern hemisphere, it's cold. You don't want to exercise because it's cold. You don't necessarily want to eat healthy because it's cold. You want comfort food that's not the healthiest sometimes. And we throw everything out. You don't have to do that, right? Like you don't have to do that. Just because you made one mistake doesn't mean that everything's out the window. Doesn't mean you're horrible. One loss does not define who the team is, right? And there's half of the coaches out there are trying to convince their players of that this week as they head into the next game that, hey, just because we lost, that doesn't mean we're losers. Just because you didn't eat well when you were planning to eat well does not make you a loser. It doesn't make you a nutritional loser. It just means you made a mistake. It just means you maybe you didn't make a mistake. Maybe you wanted to do it, and that's okay too, right? Maybe it was like, you know what? I'm never going to get a chance to eat this dessert again because I never come to this place. Somebody else paid for it. I'm going to have the dessert. Have the dessert, right? Like, don't let that define who you are afterwards. If you're trying to become someone new, keep working at it. That's the moral of the story. If you're trying to become someone new, keep working at it because you know what? There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be failures, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be whatever you want to call them. That does not define who you are. It doesn't define who you are. One loss does not make a losing team because every one of those teams that lost still has the opportunity to win 10, 11, or 12. I don't know how many games are on the schedule, but still has an opportunity to win all the rest of their games. And then if they look back at the end of the year and go, hey, we only had one loss, they're going to be pretty darn excited. If you go from now to 3 months from now and you only had one dessert, you're gonna be pretty excited about your diet, aren't you? I'm not saying you can only have one dessert. You can have multiple in there if you want to. Like I ran a race on Sunday. So what did I do? I celebrated with ice cream because I won the Grand Master, which is over 50 category. I got second overall. Like, and so I always celebrate my victories in the athletic side. I always celebrate my victories with ice cream. My family knows it. My wife knows, like they all know, like daddy won a race. Daddy did well in a race. We're getting ice cream. But I only race like once every 6 weeks, usually once every 4 to 6 weeks. Like my next race is 4.5 weeks out. So it's 5 weeks from the one I did the other day. So guess what? I'm not getting ice cream again for 5 weeks, right? It's not ice cream every night. So one non-healthy decision does not mean you have to throw in the towel and give up. And I tell you, none of those coaching staff members on those teams that lost this week are throwing in the towel and giving up. They're all going, how do we fix this? How do we change this? What's the game plan for next week that we can adjust all of these things? And that's what we need to do. When we make an unhealthy decision, we say, okay, something happened. We got derailed. How do we fix it so when we're in that situation again, we can make a healthier decision? Doesn't have to be the healthiest decision, just a healthier decision, right? And so perspective is huge, huge in making sure that we're moving our health needle in a positive direction. Okay. So keeping the perspective on what has happened will help you build the confidence to continue to make the changes in your nutrition, the changes in your exercise, the changes in your emotional health, the changes in your mental health, the changes in your spiritual health, all those changes that you're trying to make and implement. Keeping the perspective when we miss what we want to have accomplished, when we miss the mark on that, keeping the perspective of, I can still head in the right direction. I lost once, I can still get 11 wins and finish the year 11-1. And I'm telling you, the teams that finish 11-1 are going to be at the top of the list, right? Like they're going to be at the top of the list. It's very hard to go undefeated. One loss is going to put you at the top of the list. So keep that perspective for your health. In 3 months from now, just like when the football season's over, in 3 months from now, you're going to look back and go, ha, I can't believe I got so upset over that one little mistake, that one little thing that happened, that one little dessert that I had, that one little whatever it was. I can't believe I got so upset in the moment when that happened, right? So keep the perspective and things will be better for you from a health-wise as you go through the next 3 months. So that's what I learned from college football season opening weekend.